my sister and I love movies in general, but we grew up talking about movies that are now classic movies. And when we were growing up, specifically me, because I'm 13 years older than her, there was no streaming, no cable, nothing like that. In the United States, there were just three main channels, and they national networks, and they had like Saturday night at the movies or Sunday night at the movies, or something like that. And so my parents instituted movie night, and we would watch these fairly first run movies, and we loved them, and we would talk about them. They had commercials. So during the commercial, we would talk about what had happened, before, and what did we think was going to happen after the commercial. And then at the end, we would talk about, well, what do you think what was the theme?
Today's episode of My Podcast Story, we have Lucinda Sage-Midgorden, the passionate storyteller behind the podcast Story Power. Her show dives into the deeper layers of stories across various media, reflecting her lifelong love affair with narratives that began while watching TV and movies with her family. With an impressive academic background, including degrees in religious studies, theater, and education, Lucinda brings a rich perspective to her podcasting work. At 72, she continues to embrace new challenges, from teaching herself GarageBand to launch her podcast in 2020 to recently starting a YouTube channel with her sister called Classic Cinema with the Sage Sisters. She's here to share a fascinating journey from theater instructor and director to podcaster, and how she's using story power to help others discover the transformative impact of powerful narratives in our lives. Can you tell us your name, the name of your podcast, and what your podcast is about?
I certainly can. My name is Lucinda Sage-Midgorden, and my podcast is Story-Power. And you can access it through Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Amazon, on my website, Sage Woman Chronicles. There are probably other places, but those are the main.
Yeah. How old is your podcast?
It's going to be 5 years old in July, the middle of July.
Okay, 5 years old. Wow, that calls for a celebration. Wow. Remember
Yes,
to
really.
send me my cake. Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Yeah. Okay. Before the next time I'll start seeing on social media, oh, today is 5 years anniversary, and I was like, what happened? Where's my cake? So you just well, I'm happy for you. 5 years. A lot of persons are struggling with 2-3 months, and here you are. You're doing podcasts for the past 5 years. That's a big win.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember those early days. It was difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I want us to go back in time when you started the podcast. Like, what was the real reason you started the podcast? What led to the idea of you starting the podcast?
Well, my background is in theater. I taught theater. I worked in theater. I have lots of education in it. And I love stories. I've loved them ever since I was a child, watching them with my parents, watching movies and TV and discussing them. And then I became an avid reader as well. So, I was getting close to retirement. The pandemic had happened. I was teaching via Zoom, and I was learning how to use that. And I had been listening to a podcast that was all about books, which I really loved. But I wanted to broaden it because there are stories in all different kinds of arts, and just people's lives are a story. So that's why I started the podcast, so that I could broaden it. And I do talk to a lot of authors, but I've also talked to filmmakers and visual artists and musicians, and just people who gather stories. Like there's a group not too far from us who just call in people every Wednesday, and they just have them tell their life story. And I just like to listen to people talk about their lives. So that was sort of the reason I started the podcast, and it's been so much fun. I've met people from all over the world, and I love it. So, yeah, it's really fun to read the books or watch the movies or see the artwork. or listen to the songs and talk to people just about their lives.
Yeah. Currently, you're the one running the podcast, or do you have a podcast manager?
Oh no, I'm my whole entire staff, except that my husband does help me with the technical stuff.
Yeah.
And created my artwork, and he helped me set it up, for the RSS feeds and all of that, and initially. And he whenever I need to convert my audio so that I can upload it, because now I went to Libsyn as my host instead of my website, because my website was getting the data. I didn't have a lot of room for more data. So um he helps me upload, he helps me prepare the audio. But other than that, I edit it. I put the intro outros with it, and then he just converts it so that I can upload it.
Well,
So he's sort of my backup guy, but it's mostly me.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Can you walk us through your workflow? Like, what do you use for for creating and making the podcast?
Oh, I use Zoom to record the podcast, and it's mostly audio only, although I do record the video. At some point on YouTube, I might use the video. Right now, I just use pictures of me and the person and my logo to go with the
Yeah.
audio on YouTube. But yeah, I record it. Well, first, I belong to an organization called Podmatch. I call it a dating service for podcasters.
Yeah.
And you can be a guest, or you can be a host, or you can be both. And I found a lot of my guests through there. So they help you schedule your podcast, and they help you find guests, or they help you find a podcast to be on. So all that is taken care of. I don't use like a calendar like Calendly yet, but my husband found one that I think I might start using to help me facilitate the um, scheduling of the podcast. And then from Podmatch, I can get the photo, I can get the bio, I can get the social media outlets to put in the show notes. If I meet people outside of that, then I just ask them to send it to me. And then when we record, send them the Zoom link, and we record on Zoom. And then I take the audio and I edit it in GarageBand, which I learned how to use that some time back. I can't remember why. And then I prepare it, and then my husband fixes it so that I can upload it to Libsyn. And then I schedule it. I schedule it ahead of time so that it will air on a specific day. I do every other Wednesday. So next Wednesday is my next
Publish date.
publishing published date. Um, and then I hope to get comments and, likes and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm
okay.
retired.
You mentioned Zoom, Podmatch, and Libsyn. So if we were to add everything together, how much would you say you spend on your podcast?
Oh, gee. We just did taxes, and I don't even know. Yeah, it's a yearly fee, I think, for Zoom. And the fee for Libsyn is like $15 a month. I'm just, I don't have a big high level tier. I'm not on a high level tier for that. And then I also pay for my website on WordPress. And let's see, what else do I pay? Seems like there's one other thing that I pay for. So in a year, it might be $300, maybe.
In a year or in a month?
No, in a year. It's
okay.
I pay for Zoom by the year. I pay for my website by the year. Libsyn, I pay for. Oh, and Podmatch, I pay $26 a month. So Libsyn and Podmatch, I pay by the month. So maybe it's $350 a year.
I mean, 26 26. That's more than 300 in a year.
Well, I'm not very good at math, and I haven't looked at the taxes. My husband did them, so
Yeah. Okay. 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 No, no. I'm trying, but we know that it's definitely more than $300 per month. We don't know the exact figure, but we know it's more than $300 per month per year. Sorry, not month, per year. Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
right.
Yeah. I like the fact that you're the one doing everything. You're the creative director, the producer, the editor, the writer. Wow.
Well, I don't do much writing. I kind of just I do find out about my guests. I
Yeah.
listen if they have a podcast, I listen to their podcast. If I can, if they're a writer, I read their book before I um interview them. Sometimes I can't do that, but if I can, I do. And or I listen to their music so that I know a little bit about them. And then, but mostly I just let them tell their story,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'll interject questions along the way. So
Yeah. I want to take us back a bit, right? You mentioned that you put only static images on YouTube and just let the audio play on YouTube. But you do have video. I mean, I'm kind of wondering why is it that you're not doing, you're not doing YouTube? I mean, they say that there's a lot of growth to be got on YouTube, What would it take for you to be on YouTube?
well, I am on YouTube, but I don't use the video part. And mostly it's because I'm 72 and I don't want to wear makeup. I do wear makeup for my other YouTube channel with my sister. We talk about it's called Classic Cinema with the Sage Sisters. And we pick a classic movie and we talk about it. But I don't want to wear makeup anymore. So most of the podcasts that I am a guest on are audio only. They do let me know if it's going to be video and then I'll wear some makeup. But mostly I just kind of want to hang out and talk to people. So that's why I do it that way.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. This is audio and video. Did I catch you off guard? Oh, how are we going to do
Oh,
it
no,
now?
it's okay. It's all right.
Okay.
If they don't like the way I look, too bad.
No, you look great. Wow. Even though that you mentioned makeup, it was when you mentioned makeup. That's when I started like looking at your face to like notice or spot if you had makeup. But you look great.
Thank you.
And your background is just like every time I try to look, I'm always looking at the background. Can't I'm booked. I don't know what's the other word there, but it's written in special letters.
Oh, here, it says,
The yeah, the
can't.
poster. I
I'm
am booked.
booked.
What
My
what's
mother-in-law
what's
gave me
under
that.
what's under it?
My mo-
There's something under it. Can't I'm booked. The next line. Oh,
books.
oh! I thought it was right up. Oh, can't book. Oh, pun intended.
Yeah,
I
my
get it now.
mother-in-law, my mother-in-law gave it to me. She was a librarian, and so she reads a lot of books, and she and I, sometimes read the same books. So she's the one who gave me that
Yeah,
sign. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
How was
funny.
it? How was it like starting the podcast? Right? Was it stressful? Was it hard? With the tech, with everything, figuring everything out.
It was a little bit, yes. If I hadn't had my husband to help me, navigate through how to upload the audio to my website and he's the one who set up the RSS feeds for me, but I would not have been able to do it really because my brain doesn't work that way very well. I'm doing the tech stuff. And so, yeah, it was a little bit, but you just have to breathe and go, okay, I'm going to do this step. And
Yeah,
then got that done. Now I'll breathe and do the next step. And if I needed his help, he and I would do it kind of together or he would do it for me. So but once it gets up and running, then, and when I first started it, oh, I edited the heck out of those audios, and took a lot of time, like a couple of hours editing them and making them just perfect. And now I don't do that. I take if there's swear words and that kind of thing, I'll take those out And but I leave the ums in, I leave the spaces, unless they're really, really, really long, then I'll close those up. But mostly I just let people talk and leave it natural. Leave it as natural as possible. So
Okay.
yeah, it was a little stressful in the beginning, but it didn't take very long, and then I kind of got into a rhythm.
Yeah. And then you do add your intro and your outro. Um,
Mhm.
and that's basically the process.
Yes, I did not have an intro and an outro in July when I started it. It wasn't until December of that first year that I went to GarageBand and I picked out some music. You know, they have loops. Lots of audio things will have looped music, and so I went and picked out some things to put together for the music underneath, and then I wrote my intro and my outro, and I changed it in 2023. I changed the my audio intro outro a little bit, but yeah, and then I saved it. Barry taught me how to save it, and then now I just add it to the beginning and the end when I'm finished with the editing of the conversation. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. You've been doing this podcast for 5 years now, and how okay, let me put this question this way. I believe that things we work on, they also work on us. So how has podcasting kind of like helped you personally? Like, what are some things you discovered about yourself just from podcasting?
I don't know whether I should keep talking or not.
Yeah, did you get the question?
Eh, Yes, I did, and I didn't know whether to keep talking or just to wait for you. So, yes, so one of the things that has been really wonderful for me is meeting all these people from all over the world, like you. And, you know, from India or the Caribbean or Australia or someplace in Africa or England or Germany or Spain, you know, all these places, you know, even lots of different places in the United States, like places that I've not been to or only visited once and don't know much about. So that has been really wonderful. And I happen to be an introvert, so it's kind of nice not to have to go anywhere, but to get to meet all these really cool people. So
Yeah.
I like that part of it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Earlier on, I did ask the question, but the network was breaking, so I just didn't get the answer. Well, I was asking, what would it take for you to like? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember the answer. You told me, makeup that you didn't want to have to make up for you to be on YouTube video, and yeah, and I'm kind of nosy a bit. You mentioned that you have a show that you do with your sister. Is it a show or YouTube video? I don't know. Yeah, can you like you know share some details regarding that project?
Well, sure. My sister and I love movies in general, but we grew up talking about movies that are now classic movies. And when we were growing up, specifically me, because I'm 13 years older than her, there was no streaming, no cable, nothing like that. In the United States, there were just three main channels and they national networks, and they had like Saturday night at the movies or Sunday night at the movies or you know something like that. And so my parents instituted movie night, and we would watch these fairly first run movies, and we loved them and we would talk about them. You know, they had commercials. So during the commercial, we would talk about what had happened, you know, before and what did we think was going to happen after the commercial. And then at the end, we would talk about, well, you know, what do you think the movie, what was the theme of the movie or what was the message? And what did you learn from the characters and what they went through, that kind of thing. And so, uh, I had been thinking for quite some time that I wanted to do a YouTube channel just about classic movies, any movie that's 20 years old or older. And we love this network in the United States called Turner Classic Movies. And I can't watch it anymore because we don't have cable or satellite. But the movies are, from the very, very, very first movies that were ever made, movies from outside the United States, movies that go to like the 70s or 80s now, as they're showing those movies on the channel, and they have people who talk about them before the movie starts and give you some tidbits about it. And so my sister and I wanted to start this channel called Classic Cinema with the Sage Sisters, where we pick one movie and we have some clips from it, but we talk about the movie, we talk about the relationships and the acting. We also sometimes give information about the movie makers, uh, and things about movie making. We're not educated in film in terms of having gone to school for that, but we've watched enough movies and read enough about how the movies are made that we know a little bit about that. So that's what we did, and we just started it in February. So today was our fifth, I think it was our fifth movie video release was today. So and I'm working on the sixth one. Sometimes I have to take out the clips or I have to alter them a little bit because, copyright.
Yeah.
So I have to do that with this next video. I have to alter it a little bit. But yeah, we're just encouraging people to go back and watch some of those older movies because, they're like, they tell you a lot about where we are now and also give you information about how things were back then. Even historical movies can be really interesting because it sends you to go find out more about that historical time period or event. So, yeah, we just love it. And
Yeah.
we just love it.
It's a good thing you're talking about classic movies because personally, I feel that most of the classic movies, now, this is going to be outrageous, and a lot of people are going to say, yeah, what's he saying? Most of the classic movies, they didn't have the technology, especially the ones that are like 40, 50 years old. They didn't have the technology that we have now. So they were focused on the story, right? The movie itself was focused on the story. So it wasn't because, the movie had flashes of light moving here and there, and there's a dinosaur moving and all those stuff. It was like the core story. I think there's a movie I watched, very old movie. I'm trying to remember the name, but if you mention the name, I'll say the words of the movie. And there's a guy who was talking to his lover, and he was like, "Do you want the moon?" He said, "Tell me, and I will bring the moon for you." What's the name? You know the movie I'm talking about?
It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life is the name of that movie. Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart.
The network was breaking when you answered the question. What did you say it is?
It's a Wonderful Life is the name of the movie.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas movie. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was a Christmas movie where he wished that all those things were not happening, and the wish actually came true. It's a very interesting movie, though. Because normally I don't like, when you've been so much introduced to the colors and all those things. I have to like say, okay, this movie, what's so special about it? Let me see. Let me wait for 1 hour so that I'll see what's so good about the movie. And I actually love the movie. And yeah, and since we are talking about movies that are 20 years older, Shawshank Redemption?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
a really great
that's a masterpiece. Yeah, a very good movie. And then the Green Mile too, something like that.
That's a good one too. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes, and I like watching movies from other countries too because I try to understand their culture a little bit when I'm watching them. And sometimes I don't understand it as well as I wish I did, but it's always good to watch movies from all over the world, not just the United States. Yeah. So that's one thing that my sister and I want to do too, is watch movies from other countries.
Yeah, especially probably usually in a way movies can give you a sense of what the time and the period felt and what people valued in that period. and so many other things that you could read into movies.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. And you said something about they're a little bit slower. I kind of like that because I mean, I love the superhero movies and action movies, but sometimes I get tired of all the action and seeing New York City destroyed like for the 15th
Yeah.
time. You
Yeah.
know?
And that's the thing about superhero movies. Usually when the Marvel or any of these companies they release a superhero movie, I'm not super excited to watch it because I know that sometimes in an attempt to do all this display and all these things, they forget about the story. And so you see stuff is blowing up, things is happening, but I'm like, okay, what's the story? I'm like, yeah, I know,
Right. Yeah.
I know you guys are fighting, but why are you guys fighting? What's the motive? Yeah,
Yeah.
this guy's the bad guy, this is good.
Yeah.
Why? And there's
Yeah.
really nothing like that.
Some of those movies are better at that, better at the character development than others. But yes, I kind of that's one of the reasons why I like classic movies is because I can just go, okay, let's go focus on the characters and what's happening with them. And it's a little slower. And maybe it's because I'm older, but sometimes I just like that. I just like,
Hey, just a quick break. If you enjoying the insights so far and want even more behind the scenes ideas, inspiration, and tools for growing your own podcast, join my email list at mypodcaststory.com/join. That is mypodcaststory.com/join. You get access to helpful resources, exclusive updates, and the kind of stuff I only share with my email subscribers. Whether you're starting out or already podcasting, there's something valuable waiting for you. Head over to mypodcaststory.com/join and subscribe. Now, back to the episode.
like,
Yeah, that's the thing. All they had was like the story. There was none of this flashy stuff and all that. And so they didn't have to overcompensate with something else. They just had to focus on the story. And if the story was terrible, the movie was terrible. So unlike these ones where, okay, there's flashy stuff, there's all this stuff blowing up and all this, like, yeah, it's a great movie. But at the end of the day, I'm like, nah, what did these guys do? What were they thinking? Who wrote the script? Yeah, yeah,
Well, it's probably partly for a younger audience, maybe, but we happen to have young nieces and nephews who kind of got us hooked on the MCU. But have to take it in small doses. I can't watch a whole bunch of action
yeah,
movies all the time. I have to break it up
yeah.
with other kinds. Yeah,
Yeah,
other kinds
I
of
mean,
movies too.
for me, when I'm watching a movie, the first thing I'm asking is, can I connect with the protagonist or whoever the person is, right? Can I
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
can I connect? Can I see, okay, this is why they're doing this thing. This is the motive. This is the conflict, and not just. I hate when sometimes, in most movies, I just don't know why people are just probably in these modern movies they are just like stupid. Like the characters they just write some of the characters to be really stupid. And I'm like, nobody behaves like this in real life. And I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Hmm. I probably don't watch a whole lot of those kind of movies.
Is that right?
Because,
Okay.
I'm an
How's the
actor, director. I want the character development.
Yeah, yeah. You want the character to unfold, and is it movies like I think movies like Shawshank are movies that I was scared for the character. I was hoping that nothing bad should happen to them, and if something bad had happened to them, I would have felt really, really, really bad, even though it was a movie. And that's for me. It's when a movie is a movie. If I want to watch a movie, and it still keep reminding myself that, dude, it's just a movie. Yet I still feel for the character, and I'm like, yeah, that guy died, but I'm like, it's a movie. And like, yeah, I know, but that guy shouldn't have died. Like, I was rooting for him.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Right.
then, so
Yes.
others, you just like, oh, it's a movie. It's, yeah. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I just skip. Boom. 1 hour is gone. I'm like, okay, when is the good part going to come out? So like, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
True. Yeah.
yeah, the writers of then, they're different from now. Yeah.
Well, in the United States, and it wasn't like this in other countries, but in the United States, they had all these people that were making sure that they were morally correct. And so they were, that the writers had to kind of do things to get around the code of conduct. And so in a way, it made it more interesting because, the
You were
dialogue is more
creative.
subtle.
Yeah,
They had to be really creative. Yeah.
yeah,
It wasn't like that in Europe, but that makes those movies really interesting too. Um, to see those. I don't know what it was like in other countries like India, and I haven't watched a whole lot of Bollywood. I've only watched about 5 or 6 Bollywood movies.
yeah,
But yeah, or other countries. I don't know what it was like there, but yeah. So it's fun. It's kind of fun to analyze that kind of thing. Oh, they couldn't say certain words. So how do they get
yeah.
around that?
Okay.
Um,
Um, um,
anyway, I love
okay.
reading too.
Yeah. Do you, other than the stories, sitting down and just having a conversation with your guests, do you do solo episodes, or do you have some other creative ideas of episode ideas you possibly could do on your podcast?
I'm kind of a let's see what happens kind of a person. Recently, I have been contacted by a bunch of PR people who are trying to help their clients sell their books. I haven't met them through Podmatch. I met them through some other way. And, so I kind of look at the books. Am I interested in it? Am I interested in what the books are talking about? Um, Mostly, I think I would like to expand a little bit and talk to other people, other because I've had a lot of authors recently. And I would like to go back to talking to visual artists and musicians. I have talked to several movie makers or people who were involved in journalism lately too. That's always interesting to me when I get to talk to people who were producers or directors, movie directors. That's I always find that fascinating. But I would like to talk to a wider range of, of people other than just authors. So
Yeah.
that probably is something that I'll be looking to do later in the year.
Yeah. Okay. I guess a different question would be, at the course of 5 years, other than the interviews, sit down interviews where you do, have there been other episodes, style of episodes you've experimented with, other than just having a conversation with someone in an interview? Are there been solo episodes or stuff like that?
Would I wanna change the way I do my podcast? Is that what you wanna know?
No, 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 no. Like in the course of 5 years, other than the interview style, have you like tried or dropped other type of episodes other than just interview? Or has it been interview all through the 5 years?
Oh, no, it's all interview. I haven't tried any other I did one once because one once I just talked about something, but that was because the guest had to cancel.
Oh,
And we had recorded something, but she asked me not to publish it because she lost the job that she was doing. So then
oh,
yeah, the one that she was talking about on the podcast. And it worked out okay. She's got another job, yay.
oh,
But,
yes, yes.
I had to I had to fill in, so I can't remember what it was that I did, but it was just me talking about something. That's the only time, but it was just like an emergency.
Now, I know
I
you
had
said
an
you can't
emergency.
remember what you did, but I'm just curious, what did you talk about and how long was the episode?
I don't remember. I think I talked about a movie. It might have been. I think I might have talked about a movie or a television show that I had been watching that I thought was really great, or a book that I had read. It was something like that. That's what I talked. It was like over a year ago, so I don't really remember what I talked about. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
there's
Um,
something like that.
yeah, over the course of 5 years now, how has the podcast been doing? Qualitatively and quantitatively. I like for us to like go with the numbers, then we'll go with the depth and the qualitative aspects. But let's start with the quantitative. How's the podcast doing in terms of numbers?
You know what? I do not know. I'm retired. I don't monetize my podcast. I don't pay attention to the statistics. Uh, I do know that I have on Apple Podcasts, I have about 5 or 6 really nice reviews, and my podcast is a 5-star podcast. But how many people listen? How many people subscribe? I don't know. Spotify does this really interesting thing. At the end of the year, they send you kind of
Spotify
it's
Wrapped.
not
Yeah.
yeah, right, yes. And so I do find out where most of my audience is from. Like, one year I found out that most of the people who were listening to my podcast were outside the United States, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. But that's the only time really that I pay attention to that because I'm not doing it to get a lot of listeners or to monetize it. I'm just doing it because I love doing it,
Yeah.
and that's all.
So I could call it a passion project.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um um I guess the question is, what was the itch you wanted to scratch when you started this podcast?
Well, I'm curious, so I like to know about people and their lives, and I like to know about their creative projects and how they got the idea for their creative project, or how did you become a movie maker? How did you become a musician, or whatever it is? And so I just like having conversations with people.
Wow.
That's it.
Oh, and then in a way to like ground everything and make it easier for you to have conversation with people, you decided to start the podcast. Earlier on, I wanted to ask you why podcasting in the first place? Because I mean, there are other things you could possibly do to have conversations with people, but why what was so peculiar about podcasting?
I never thought of it until you just asked me this question. But I see for years and years and years, I was a teacher. So I got to meet a lot of people. I got to talk to them. I got to, I got to learn a little bit about their lives. Uh, but when I was going to retire from teaching, which it was about a year after I started the podcast, or maybe a year and a half, that I stopped teaching. I was teaching at the college level at that time. I wanted to keep talking to people. And that's kind of why I started the podcast because, I was going to miss the interaction with people.
Oh, just out of curiosity, what were you teaching in college?
Well, I was teaching theater classes. Yeah, I taught high school drama, and then I also taught English. I had enough credits, literature and English credits to be a highly qualified English teacher. So at one high school, I taught English and one class of theater. And then I started teaching at the college, and it was all theater.
Wow. Wow. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's fascinating how, I like the fact. So I guess the question right now is, with that vision and that purpose of, okay, I love to talk to people and I'm going to start a podcast so I can keep having conversations with people, despite the fact that I'm no longer teaching, I'm no longer in school. Right? How is that working out for you? How's that doing now? It's 5 years now. How's it going?
Oh, I have enough people lined up to make recordings to take me through August. And if I and on Podmatch, I had to hide my host profile.
Yeah.
If I unhid it, I would probably have enough people to take me through next year.
Next year, yeah.
So, yeah, but I did learn a lesson last year, and that's I always want now to record the episode a month or two, maybe a month and a half before it airs. I don't want to do it too far in advance, which I did last year. And it's a year, they have to wait a year for their episode. So I don't want to do that anymore. I want to make it closer to when the episode's going to air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
I will probably unhide my host profile in August sometime.
Just for those who probably they're not on Podmatch and don't even understand how that works. Right now, you're being bombarded by a lot of guests who want to be on your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and And not all from Podmatch. Some of them find me through listening to my podcast, or they find me through my website, or they find me on LinkedIn, and then they contact me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for me, what fascinates me about your story is the fact that you did not have um, quote unquote, the technical knowledge for the podcasting. And in your own ways, as you said earlier on, which I know that part when you answer that question is going to be a soundbite for social media. You said, just take one step, focus on that step, breathe in, breathe out, and then say, okay, now we're done with this step. We're going to do the next step. And then once you're done with that, you breathe in, breathe out. And that for me, is really, really inspiring because a lot of persons, they don't want to start a podcast because like, oh, I'm not technical. Oh yeah, I don't know how to put this stuff. I can upload this. I don't really know how to do this stuff. I would have started a podcast if I was tech savvy. And I'm like, dude, are you really serious right now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it helps if you have a friend who is, or a husband.
Yeah,
I point this way because his office is behind me. Um,
yeah,
yeah, who can help you with this stuff that you don't understand. But I was willing to learn how to use GarageBand. I was to edit or to use Zoom. I had to use Zoom because during the pandemic, I was teaching on Zoom.
yeah,
So I had to learn how to use it. But since I already knew those two components, then it was pretty easy when I had the technical help from my husband. And once it was set up, all I had to do was do the workflow to make the episodes air at the time they were supposed to air.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that was pretty easy, that part.
Currently, you have just one podcast, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
One
and then
podcast and one YouTube channel are all about, plus I have other things that I'm doing, but that's about all I can handle right now. Yeah.
do you post stuff about do you promote on social media or
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't do any of it? Okay.
Yes.
What's the promotion strategy like for your podcast? I'm curious to know that.
Well, my website is linked to Facebook and LinkedIn. Libsyn disseminates it to Apple, Spotify, Amazon. I do the YouTube myself. There seems like there's some other two or three others. But they send it out.
Yeah,
All I have to do is schedule it and tell
yeah.
them who I want. And then, which is really nice because I don't have to do that then. And then what was the other part of your question?
Do you promote on social media?
Oh, yes. Well, yeah, it doesn't go out to Instagram or I also belong to this other um, social media that's sort of like LinkedIn called Alignable. So I have to go take the link and put them in those places. I also have a Patreon community that I will upload it to.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's a good thing you mentioned the Patreon community. How big is it? Is the Patreon?
I only have about 8 people, I think 8 or 9. That's okay. I have to, yes, I have to learn how to market that better, but that's one of the things that I want to learn here soon is how to market that better. I'm not very good at the marketing part of it, but they have a lot of helps. And that now that my husband's retired, I'm going to ask him for help with figuring that out, the Patreons, how to market better. Yeah.
The Patreon is okay. I know usually the Patreon involves people paying for a membership every month, and then they get added bonuses and benefits as being a member.
Uh, Patreon also has instituted this thing where you can join a site for free to try it out. So I have some free members and some paid members, and I just do it just for fun. I just do that for fun. And hopefully have conversations with people. I'm always looking to expand conversations about stories. And so,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, people do support the stuff that's of value to them. That's one thing I know, and it would be nice if, in a way, for some reason, you're able to cover the cost of the podcast. And that
Well, we are both retired and we have enough money. So at some point, I may monetize it by, having sponsors or something. But right now, I don't need to.
yeah,
I don't need the money. I don't need the money. Somebody younger would need the money probably,
yeah,
not me.
yeah, that's nice. I mean, if probably maybe in the future, how do I put, kind of like I don't quite know. I don't know how long it takes you to edit, record, and produce. If you could maybe make some changes later on in the future along the way, that kind of saves you tons of hours in producing the podcast. That
Yes. Right now it takes me a couple of days. Usually it depends on how much, like the person that is going to be my guest on the 7th, I think it's the 7th of May. Yeah. He was a TV movie producer and writer. And the show notes, I mean, all the people that he mentions, and that was really, really long. But most of the time, and so I had to pick and choose. I didn't put all of everything referenced in our conversation. But usually the show notes are fairly short. And the editing takes me, maybe I do an initial edit and then a final edit, and then I add the intro, outro. So that probably takes me maybe 3 or 4 hours to do that. And
yeah,
then and then it takes an hour maybe or two depending on how long the show notes are, because I add links also to the show notes. And that takes a while to go, depending on how many links I have. Yeah, so I can do it in a couple of days.
yeah. Earlier when I asked the question about quantity and quality of how the podcast is doing now, you did answer the quantity. You said you not really don't really look at the numbers. So I'd like for us to look at the quality aspect, which is have you been getting feedback messages from your listeners or yeah?
Yes. Well, mostly the feedback is from my guests, and they really enjoy talking to me. So, and I have ratings from them on Podmatch, but also on
Yeah.
the app, the like Spotify and Apple, and comments, about how fun it was to be on my podcast and things like that. So I think I probably do have some from listeners, but like I said, I don't pay attention unless they want to comment about the book that I was talking about or the movie or then I pay attention. But yeah, it's all mostly
Yeah.
been positive.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the this is a very nice retirement project. Honestly, it's really fun. You get to talk to people you across the world. I'm guessing your guests are from all over the world, and thank God for the internet. And you with internet you just connect and we were having a conversation. I'm from Nigeria, and I'm having a conversation from, and I think you're from where are you from? From the US.
Arizona in the United States. It's bordered by New Mexico and California.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
See,
north of
see.
us is Nevada. Yeah.
See,
And
see what
south
I'm
of us
saying?
is
We're
New.
having a conversation. Yeah, and you're meeting new persons, which ordinarily that would have been something you would have been getting from your teaching job, but just that your teaching job would not have been going round the world. It would have just been your students from that classroom. Probably most of them
Right.
would have been probably coming from different parts of the world, but from just
Yeah.
that class. So now you're talking to different persons, and that's service.
Yeah, it is fantastic. Although I did teach the first high school I taught at, it's a military town. So a lot of those students had lived in lots of different places in the world, even though they were mostly white and, um, but also the other school that I taught at is a border school. So it's borders Mexico. So a lot of those students had family that lived in Mexico. They were of Hispanic descent, Mexican descent, and Spanish was their first language and that kind of thing. So that was really interesting teaching there.
Yeah.
So I was learning a
Oh,
lot about the Mexican culture and, so yeah.
yeah. For me, every time I invite a guest on the podcast, I learn things that is possible to create with a podcast. Like have had guests that use their podcast for various stuff. And now I'm chatting with you and I'm seeing, wow, you're using the podcast as a project, a passion project, a creative project, even after retirement. And that for me, it's like, I mean, the limits is our imagination with what we can do with
Yeah, anybody can do it.
Okay, that reminds me. I think it's at this point I get to ask you, what's the I want to coin it in a way that it sounds really profound. What's the words of wisdom you have for those thinking about starting a podcast? Probably maybe I don't know how you want to approach that, but what's the word of wisdom?
Ooh, I, I'm not sure I have wisdom. I think what it is it, do what you love. And if you love talking to people, if you're curious about them, then podcasting might be a really neat thing for you to do, or it might be a creative thing for you to do. Um, yeah, it only happened once or twice where I talked to people who it was like they had a set of questions that they wanted me to answer, but it didn't seem like they were really interested in what I had to say. So, yeah. Yeah. But what it was okay. It was fine. But yeah, I just like to let people talk about their lives and then I might interject a question here and there, like you're doing now.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, it's a way to connect with people. That's the bottom line. It's a way to connect with people. And some of my guests I continue to have a relationship with after the podcast is over. So sometimes you make connections with somebody and you want to continue the relationship. And that's really cool too.
yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Lucinda, for coming on the podcast and for sharing your podcast story. Where can listeners learn more about your podcast?
Well, my website is Sage Woman Chronicles at sagewoman.life. It's on WordPress. And I always publish both the classic cinema with the Sage Sisters and Story Power there. I also have a blog there. And then the podcast is Story Power, Story Hyphen Power. It's on Apple, Spotify, Amazon. You can find it on YouTube as well. And then Lucinda Sage-Midgorden is my name on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Instagram is just Sage-Midgordon, all one word, lowercase. But I'm also on Alignable, on Goodreads. So if you just Google my name, it'll have like all those um, social medias as well. And I have kind of a
Yeah,
lot of people that I'm connected with on all of those platforms.
yeah. Thank you so much. Please do not forget me when it's time for the birthday anniversary in July. Please and please.
Just I'll have to send the cake by airmail.
Yeah, that's true. Once you be doing a solo episodes, yeah, I like just to like look at the podcast and kind of like, yeah. I don't know. It depends on how you want to celebrate. It's your podcast at the
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I haven't thought about how I'm going to celebrate. I'll have to
Okay,
think about that.
okay. Um, just because I'm taking notes now. What date specifically is are we celebrating the anniversary? So I remember because I don't believe you're going to remember me.
You're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
contact me and say, don't forget to send me the cake. It's July. Actually, it started on July 22nd, but that is not a Wednesday. So it will be, I think it's going to be July 16th.
Okay, the actual birthday is 22 July 2020, 25.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so when will be the Wednesday we celebrate?
July 16th. July 16th.
Okay, July 16th. Okay. I'm just taking notes so I get to send you my birthday anniversary congratulatory message.
Oh, how nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. And it's been really, really great chatting with you. And this has been an amazing 55. Yeah. Yeah, I wish it won't come to an end, but yeah. I'm
Well,
sad
Wisdom,
it has
good
to come
luck
to an
with
end.
your podcast. Good luck with your
Yeah.
podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That means a lot. That's it for today's episode of my podcast story. I am Wisdom Okonkwo, and I hope this conversation sparked new ideas and gave you a deeper look into the heart of podcasting. If you've loved this episode, consider supporting the show by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/wisdomhq. Every bit helps keep the stories going. And hey, don't forget to follow, rate, and share this podcast with another podcaster or creator who would find it helpful. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.